sort of say, this is the case. Well, what's the other guy going to say? I mean, either I agree or roll over and play dead, or no, don't say. I am persuaded that such is the case. My experience leads me to think this. This is how I had responded to the situation. That means your partner then could say, oh, that's interesting. My response was, or my view is, you don't have to go like this, you can go like this. A-I-R. It reflects the statement. Somewhere along in the conversation, I want to say, Mary, do I understand you right? You're saying blah, 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 A is B. Do I have that right? That gives Mary a chance to say, Glenn, you're exactly right, or Glenn, you got it 3/4 right, but there's this. And so then we have a real meeting. Very simple, tiny little guidelines. When we got 10 or 12, we go through. In 3 or 4 hours, that's what we would do. So if you got a group, a class, or go get them if you don't have it, and invite us to come. We'll help to teach them the basics of how to do dialogue on the grassroots level. Then, the next step, after you've gotten some agreement, do something. I'll get there.
Thank you.
Before we move forward, what was the I, Lynn? What was the I?
I think I am persuaded that this is the case. Instead of saying, this is truth.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to break the order a little bit. The next two will be Carol Manigault, who drove from Teaneck, New Jersey this morning. Thank you. And Mr. Muhammad, and then we'll start back around. Okay.
I'm Carol Manigault. I'm actually a professor of mathematics and computer science, but I'm here today to speak about this topic from the point of view of my religious background, which is Christianity and specifically Christian Science. Speak louder? Oh, yes. I feel like I'm shouting already, but I will try. Considering the question, is the spirit of the nation broken? Just considering that first question, I work on a campus all day, every day. The feelings of a lot of young people are that, yes, it is broken, and without their long life experience, they may not be confident about how to fix things and whether things can possibly be fixed. But my coming from a religious background, I am always encouraged to turn to prayer and to God. And so I have these two examples. One is a mathematical example of how we might view what seems to be going on in our country today and spilling out into the world or encroaching on to our lives here from places out there in the world. And then the other one is from my faith tradition. The first example is, what if a group of people, a group of builders were to build a tall building, and they wanted to lay the foundation, and they needed to establish the mathematics of laying that foundation. For whatever reason, just follow along, no matter how implausible it sounds. For whatever reason, somewhere, one of the people in the foundation laying team had been taught that 2 + 2 is 5. He had had very minor assignments before this one, and just by coincidence, things had worked out for him when he did measurements of 2 + 2 = 5. His little one-story constructions had never fallen down. But now he's on this team that's trying to build a tall building. And of course we know by principle of mathematics, 2 + 2 does not equal 5, it equals 4. and this is such a fundamental fact that everything beyond that, into the calculus and so forth, will not stand on that fault in the simple principle. 2 plus 2 equals 4. So as the building continued, the foundation was laid, nothing fell down, first floor was erected, but when you got to the second and third floor, that building started to lean. And so everyone knew that something was wrong, and they began to examine, and they found the problem. So what they needed to do then was to recognize that there is a problem, examine, uncover it, call it out for what it is, and then get rid of it. There's another example from the Christian tradition. When Jesus was undergoing his ministry, he would teach the people through parables, lessons with stories with lessons behind them. Because the people were not formally educated, and this proved to be a very effective way of conveying truths about God and man created in God's image and likeness. So there's this one parable about the tares and the wheat. A farmer had planted good wheat seed and had expected to have a wonderful harvest of wheat. His fields just filled with wheat. But all of a sudden, tares or weeds started to grow among the wheat. Now, bear in mind, the tares were not a part of the wheat. They never really touched the wheat. If you got close enough, you could see that they were distinct and separate from the wheat. And the wheat was still good. The helpers asked the farmer, should we immediately go through and try to get rid of these tares? This is awful. This is ruining your crop. And the farmer, very astute, said, no, let them both grow side by side until harvest. And then at harvest time, the tares will be able to be pulled up very easily because they don't have any foundation to them. They can be pulled up, bundled, burned, and then the wheat can be harvested and used to make bread or whatever. Again, detect that there is a problem, uncover it, see it for what it is, and then get rid of it. What I have held to is the fact that what we see in terms of all kinds of immorality and deliberate sabotage and the capturing of data on Facebook, and you can just go down the whole line of things, would be like these tares, some done deliberately, but subtly at first. Once they became uncovered, they should be exposed for what they are, and then done away with. So I see evidence of that happening right now, don't you? There are certain people who have been indicted. There's lots that is being uncovered. There is no wrong that cannot be righted if we just hold to where the real power is. Now, every one of us is a member of some faith tradition. So whatever you consider as God, I'm sure that God represents peace and love, especially love. That's where the power is. The power is not in love's opposite, like deception and criticism and all the other things that would make us feel so uncomfortable in this day and age with what is seemingly going on around us. The nature of evil is to disrupt any harmony, sow seeds of mistrust, dishonesty, negativity, suspicion, divisiveness, and the like. And that's what a lot of people are feeling now. But we have to have full faith in truth and love and kindness and all the things that represent what we want to see. We start as an individual, on an individual basis. We move out to community organizing. We run for office. We take practical steps in what is done. You can start as an individual by loving, consciously loving. It creates an atmosphere. You can walk into a room, and where there are people consciously loving their fellow man, you can feel it. So I'm going to close with this simple prayer from my faith. Thy kingdom come. Let the reign of divine truth, divine life, and divine love be established in me, and rule out of me all sin. And may thy word enrich the affections of all mankind and government.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we will go to Mr. Muhammad.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say my faith tradition, Islam.
We can't hear you at all.
I would first like to say, I'm sorry, in my faith tradition, Islam is Assalamu alaikum, and it means peace be unto you. And if anything, when Jesus or Yeshua or Isa, we call it in Arabic, would greet his disciples, he would say, peace be unto them, every time. But I just wanted to thank those that put this program on. I want to thank Dr. Wade and Dr. Aziz and others that have put it on and invited me. I met her a few years ago. She heard me speak to about 40 youth in a youth center in North Philadelphia, and asked me to be a part, trying to help change things, make a real change in our community. So whenever I'm available, I try to make myself available to her, and in doing such. But I wanted to let you all know it's an honor to see you here, that we can discuss, dialogue about this. As I look at the word, I'm Brother Chris Muhammad, so you see. But as I look at this word broken, you see it's the spirit of the nation broken. In my analysis, would say yes. Because as an African-American male, who have been here all of my life, born and raised, who have been African-American all of my 51 years on this planet, and who has grown up in the urban areas of North Philadelphia, straight from Simon Gratz High School. I know what it's like to be marginalized, victimized. And I just, from the perspective of stating when Jesus said, inasmuch as you have not done unto the least of these, my brethren, you have not done it also unto me. America, although we're great, and the greatest in many ways, have not fulfilled or have rectified the original sins of this nation. That is said by the great late President Thomas Jefferson, who says that I fear for my nation when we look at our history. And there's a big elephant, not in the room, but in the society that we won't deal with. I just spoke at a school in Chester, Pennsylvania, and told the religious institution, those religious leaders there and some lay people that if we don't deal with the least of these principles, we really don't want to deal with that, society will never come together religiously, classically, and will never come together with true racial harmony the way it needs to be, and the way that Jesus and Prophet Muhammad and all the prophets have tried to bring and unite the tribes from all of us. And I think that when you look at the word broken, as I looked it up as we were sitting here and I'm listening to the esteemed panel here, that I'm grateful to be a part of, it says broken. It said broken is the past participle of break. Being in a state of disarray and disrepair, subdued totally, humble, a broken spirit. And as I said, as an African-American male, speaking for the plight of the communities that I come from, we're broken, we're in disarray, disorder. In many ways, the disruption of our own condition has affected our future. And I asked the man who was a pastor that was presenting it at the presentation in Chester,